Very, very big things. Bathabile Moreki on the show. Bathabile, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Letlam. Okay, I think I got a weekend, ne? Marilyn.
Lenyora la Manyora,
Thank
that's who
you
you
so
are today.
much.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show. I mean, we often celebrate the rewards of entrepreneurship, but not the emotional weight that comes with leadership. How has success changed you personally, not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually?
You're teaching me. What I just can say is it's been an amazing journey. It's been a very
Mm-hmm.
emotional journey. And one thing that I always say is that God, whatever happens in my life, can you please not change me? Can I please remain humble, and serve? So to be honest, I think the more I'm getting the success, the more the God is giving me the ability to serve even better. So
Oh,
I'm so grateful, that I'm able to touch so many lives, to work with so many different peoples, and of course to get such opportunities to share about my journey, to change other people's lives. I am so, so grateful.
I hear you speak about praying to God, asking Him not to change you as you climb that ladder. And I think this is a conversation that we don't have enough with people. Uh, Success can change somebody. Sometimes for the worse. And it is so important to kind of find other people who ground you, or a place, or something that grounds you. What keeps you grounded besides prayer? How do you continuously remind yourself, this is who I am? Yes, I'm climbing the ladder. My success is very evident in the things that I do, but how do you stay grounded at all times?
I think it's the people that I meet through this journey that always fill my cup to not forget where I come from. I come from a very rural area. I was born actually in Mpumalanga. And
Mm.
my parents moved to, in the rural areas because of job hunting. They end up in the villages in the Free State, in QwaQwa. So I always say, what, ne? The more I advocate about the work that I do, I see people's lives changing. So that's why now I keep on going back. Last week I traveled to nine sites in Mpumalanga, Standerton,
Yeah.
Ermelo, Brighton, Mpumalanga, meeting entrepreneurs. I was traveling with the funders who were so inspired to say, Bathabile, how did you identify and be able to mentor these entrepreneurs? Because we will have just missed them. So for me, always seeing other entrepreneurs through my work being identified, being funded, being, their businesses growing, it makes me go back and look for more. So I think that, the work that I do and changing people's lives in the rural areas, in the township, that's what inspires me to keep grounded.
Speaking of
That's
that, I
what
mean,
roots me,
yeah.
to go back and back, in these areas, because I've seen that, we have so much talent, we have so many, people that we are changing, and
Mm.
people coming back to give me this testimony to say, but my life has changed just hearing you. Some of the people, they hear me, and somehow they take the notes that I share and put that in place to change their lives.
I mean, Bathabile, speaking of that, at what point did you realize that true wealth is not just about making money, but about building structures that outlive you by creating systems others can buy into through franchising?
Yeah, I think when I started with my first franchising, I didn't know what I was doing. For me, it was just like, oh, it's a business opportunity. Government
Yeah.
is willing to fund me. Let me take this opportunity. Up until I started being on the ground, because I was working in my franchise business as a manager. And people will be asking me, oh, okay, who's the owner of this business? And when I say it's me, I will see in their eyes with disbelief, to say, no, it's impossible. Young black woman, I was 29 years by then, owning a franchise, no, it can't
Wow.
happen. Then I started sharing to say, no, I got funded by government. It's not like at home we are wealthy. Just sharing. And when I realized to say, what, I think there's more people that can get inspired by hearing from a normal person, because some of the success stories we see on TV, we hear on radios, and we're thinking it's highly impossible for a normal person from rural areas. We are always thinking, no, maybe because of their family background, they are wealthy, therefore that's why the opportunity is opening. So I realized, when I was engaging with people and I started sharing on social media to say, I own a franchise business, I was funded, and I will get inquiries to say, how did you get funded? And I will share my steps to say, I went to National Empowerment Fund, I got this form. That's when I started even writing the book. So I even got inspired to be an author just by sharing my knowledge. So I realized that the more I share with other people, it's actually also changing my life. I never thought I could even be an author, of a book that is sold in national bookstores, and it did very well. It was one of the top 10 in Africa books in the business literature. So I was like, the more I'm helping other people, it's actually even building me for better.
We're running out of time, but just before I let you go, we have a very high unemployment rate in the country. And I think because of that, there's also become this growing culture of wanting quick success and soft life results without process. What dangerous habits or mindset do you believe are silently killing potential in today's young entrepreneurs?
So I think it's just that belief that, to be successful, we must all be in corporate. I was also having that mindset back in the days, up until I realized to say, even just hustling, even just selling on the streets, you can actually change your life. So my restaurant closed down during COVID. And remember, a lot of restaurants closed down. And I started hustling on the streets. And to be honest, I started making even more money than what I was making in the franchise businesses. 5 years later, something that started by just side hustling in my garage, I'm running a very successful perfume company. We've got over 300,000 distributors across South Africa and even cross-border, Namibia, Swaziland, Lesotho, Botswana. We even have physical stores. We've got about 70 stores across South Africa and cross-border, something that I just started on the street, selling on the parking lots, taxi rank. So I'm just want to encourage the youth to say, don't think air conditioning office, corner office with a view is the only way that we can make an income. Whether you've got a degree, you've got a diploma, it's all about us changing our financial situation by even hustling. You can start by hustling, baking from home, then you can build your own bakery. If they can only give selling a chance, you don't have to sell perfumes like I do. You can, do hair, you can bake, you can be a cooker. Just start something from your house. Don't only depend on looking for employment. Create that one job for yourself. You see that one job will multiply to create more employment. We should not only be expecting jobs created by others. Let's also create those jobs for ourselves.
Sure, Bathabile, this is why you are a Lenyora Wednesday for today. And,
Thank you so much.
I really, really hope there are a lot of young girls listening in, because I think yours is a journey of process. And we need to hear that word a little bit more, process, that everything is a process. You don't just get everything off the bat like that. It takes a lot of hard work, but it is very possible. Thank you so much.
But it pays off. I don't want to lie. You cannot not get successful if you put in the hard work. It cannot.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. We wish
Thank
you all the best.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
As a responsible broadcast citizen,